Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into Doctor Strange of Asgard issue number 4, a chapter filled with intrigue, deception, and magic that bends the very fabric of reality. Thor confronts Strange over a shocking murder, forcing him into a desperate escape across Asgard's magical currents. Along the way, Strange uncovers a sinister plot, one that implicates Loki, a stolen axe, and a dark force manipulating events from the shadows. Who is being framed? Who is pulling the strings? And can Strange untangle the mystery before time runs out? Let's break it all down. Stephen Strange, Sorcerer Supreme of Earth, has just made an unprecedented offer. He's traveled to Asgard itself, volunteering to become their new magical protector. Noble, right? But nothing is ever that simple when Loki is involved. Our good doctor quickly finds himself neck deep in a murder investigation that makes absolutely no sense. Loki, yes, the god of mischief himself, has been magically coerced into committing a brutal killing. But here's the kicker. Strange doesn't just want to solve this crime. He wants to clear Loki's name entirely. The prime suspect? A mysterious figure wielding an axe, striking from the shadows. But Strange isn't backing down. He needs one final ingredient for the spell of Akranon, a dark troll skull that will let him channel the raw magical power of Asgard itself. After a violent quest that nearly cost himself everything, he finally has what he needs. But trust? That's crumbling faster than his carefully laid plans. Thor confronts him with the words that cut deeper than any blade. The Thunder God knows Strange isn't evil, but he also knows something darker. That when the greater good calls, Strange is capable of walking paths that would horrify lesser men. It's the burden they both carry. Then Lady Sif drops a bombshell that changes everything. She's found Hulda's corpse, buried beneath the sacred tree of life, and she watched Strange do the burying with her own eyes. The question hangs in the air like a death sentence. Did you also do the killing? What does Strange do when faced with this impossible accusation? He runs. But you can't outrun the truth in Asgard, especially when Lady Sif is hunting you with her mystical tracking abilities. Strange is burning through his magical reserves, desperately transporting through Asgard's endless ocean of power. Each jump drains him further, pulling him toward complete exhaustion. In desperation, he casts Perception's veil, vanishing from Sif's supernatural sight. But he knows this is just buying him time. If the spell fails, Thor will come crashing down on him with the fury of 1,000 storms. Think about Strange's position here. He's suspected of the very murder he witnessed Loki commit, the same crime he's desperately trying to exonerate them for. He knows the truth, but speaking it would shatter that little trust remains. He's completely alone, adrift in a realm where he's now seen as a villain. So where do you go when you need answers in Asgard? You find the nearest tavern, of course. Strange enters a dimly lit establishment where he meets two crucial figures, Holt and Aslak. Holt examines the murder weapon with the expertise of someone who truly understands deadly tools. What he reveals sends chills down Strange's spine. The weapon is called the Axe of Exquisite Decapitations. Not only is it devastatingly effective at its gruesome purpose, but it actually absorbs the magical power of everyone it kills. This isn't just a murder weapon, it's a supernatural parasite, growing stronger with each life it takes. But here's where it gets interesting. The axe was stolen from Halfgrim Haraldsson, a legendary weaponsmith. The theft happened some time ago, but who took it, and more importantly, who's wielding it now? As Thunder Guards begin searching every tavern in the realm, Strange knows his time is running out. He and Aslak slip out through the back, and with a gesture, Strange opens a portal to Midgard, transporting them to safety where Loki and Clea are waiting. Now comes the interrogation that will change everything. Strange asks Loki directly, "Did you steal the Axe of Exquisite Decapitations?" Loki's response is pure him, a casual admission followed by complete indifference. Yes, he stole it. So what? He needed it to kill someone he described as a villain most foul. But that was months ago. What happened to the axe after Loki used it? He gave it away as a gift to a younger sorcerer who had impressed him with remarkable illusion casting abilities. The sorcerer, Aslak, who's been standing right there the entire time. The pieces start clicking into place with terrifying clarity. Strange asks Aslak directly, "Is this your axe?" Aslak admits yes, but claims he didn't mention it earlier because he didn't want to intrude. Really? You see the murder weapon that belongs to you and you don't want to intrude? Strange presses further with a question that reveals the true scope of this conspiracy. Could Aslak disguise himself as a red-robed attacker and use the axe to kill Strange? Aslak's answer is chillingly matter-of-fact. Theoretically, yes, absolutely. Now Strange sees the pattern. First, someone framed Loki for Hulda's murder, which conveniently framed Strange as an accomplice. Now, they might be setting up Aslak as the fall guy for the attempt on Strange's life. This isn't random violence, it's a carefully orchestrated plan to destroy them all. But Strange needs to see the truth for himself. He asks to enter Loki's mind, to witness the memory of Hulda's murder firsthand. Loki refuses, with typical dramatic flair, describing his mind as too intricate and cunning for Strange to navigate. He offers instead to simply show the memory directly. When Strange peers into Loki's mind, he finds nothing. The memory has been completely erased. But then he notices something that makes his blood run cold. Lifting Loki's coat, he reveals a transparent sigil branded into his back, a tramp stamp, a mark that Loki never knew was there. This changes everything. Someone used the blackest magic to brand Loki without his knowledge, probably while he was drinking and vulnerable. The killer then used this sigil to swap places with Loki just long enough to murder Hulda, before implanting a false memory to cover their tracks. It's magical identity theft on the most sinister kind. Strange realizes he's been chasing shadows while the real killer has been manipulating events from the beginning. He's wasted precious time, and more people could die while he's been stumbling around in the dark. There's only one solution. He needs to complete the spell of Akranon. When Loki questions whether this is really about becoming Sorcerer Supreme, Strange's response reveals his true motivations. No, this is about stopping anyone else from getting hurt. He sends Aslak to find Thor and explain what really happened, hoping to repair some of the trust that's been shattered by this conspiracy. But the spell of Akranon isn't just another magical incantation. It's something far more profound and dangerous. The spell allows a magician to trace the invisible threads connecting different types of magic, to find commonalities that shouldn't exist. It's simple in concept but riddled with dangers that could destroy the caster. Here's the sober truth about magic in this universe. Even if you gathered every magical textbook, every ancient tome, every grimoire, from the beginner's guide to the dreaded Darkhold itself, all that accumulated knowledge might represent 8% of what magic can truly accomplish. We're dealing with forces beyond complete comprehension. As Strange begins the ritual, his hands steady despite everything he's endured, he knows the risks. But what is life without a little risk? The spell begins to work, reality bending around him as he reaches out to touch the fundamental forces that bind all magic together. He's on the verge of a breakthrough that will reveal the truth behind his entire conspiracy. But he's not alone. A shadow shifts behind him in the darkness, still gleaming in the low light as an axe rises high, its edge poised to fall in one final, decisive strike. The axe of exquisite decapitations, hungry for one more magical soul to devour. Will Strange complete the spell in time to save himself and everyone he's trying to protect? Or will this be where the Sorcerer Supreme's story finally comes to an end? The answer lies in that split second between the axe's rise and its deadly fall, a moment that will determine the fate of not just Strange, but everyone caught in the web of magical deception. And that's the wild ride of Doctor Strange of Asgard issue number 4. In this chapter, Strange barely stayed ahead of his pursuers while unraveling a layered deception. He learns that Loki was marked by a transparent sigil, allowing the real killer to swap places with him just long enough to commit murder, and then plant a false memory in his mind. Meanwhile, Aslak, a young sorcerer gifted an infamous axe by Loki, finds himself drawn into the mystery. With Thor closing in and the true culprit still unknown, Strange prepares the spell of Akradon, not for power, but to stop anyone else from getting hurt. The stakes have never been higher, and Asgard itself may soon be torn apart by the truth. What do you think about this twist? Drop your theories in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Until next time, peace.